You don't need a woman in your life. It's not imperative. It's not paramount. And I wish someone said this to me a few years ago when I was craving companionship, love, affection. Of course, it's a bonus. What heterosexual man wouldn't want that? Of course. But especially as a young man, when you're building your career and you're building your life, unless you have someone to build with, don't go out there specifically looking for women. I've made this point before. Women should never be your priority, because the darkest place to be is longing for a relationship when you have a dark hole to fill, that you have a void to fill. And what your brain naturally assumes is that if I find a relationship, she can fill that void. No. If anything, it's going to bring you two further apart. It's going to pull you two further apart. You need to find fulfillment within yourself. I know it's an answer that many of us won't like to hear, but you have to work on yourself. You have to be a man of character. You have to be a man of strong values and traits that women would find captivating and adore. But as well as that, your life has to be jam-packed. Let's put the studying, let's put the 9 to 5 to one side for a moment. What does your free time entail? What do you do on a regular basis when you have that free time? Are you exercising on a daily basis? Do you play an instrument? Are you multilingual? Can you speak multiple languages? What's your knowledge on history and geography? As a man, you have to become multifaceted. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the finished article. That's not what I'm stating here. You must aim to be the finished article, because as you work on yourself, one day you will be the finished article. And as I said, this is me documenting my journey, but this is me laying out the path, because I know a lot of the viewers here and a lot of you guys watching, I was once in your shoes where I thought, look, as long as I have a job, as long as, I can drive and, I exercise sort of on an interval basis 2-3 times a week, then I'm good to go. I'm worthy of a good looking woman who has the same values as me. And unfortunately, the game has changed. It's not as simple as that anymore. There needs to be more to your repertoire, so to speak. There has to be more to your arsenal. You have to improve and elevate into another level, into another echelon. As I said, being fit is good, and most people aren't fit, so that's already a massive green flag. But how about the other areas? Are you able to hold and entertain intellectual conversations? You have to impress women with your knowledge on various topics. You don't have to be an expert on anything, but as my mentor once upon a time said, aim to be the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. It's a Dutch saying. I'm not going to say it because I've forgotten how to pronounce it, and I'm not Dutch and I can't speak Dutch. It's a very cool way of saying it, but it is a Dutch saying. It's the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. And what that's insinuating is you don't have to be an expert at everything. Aim to be world-class at 1 or 2 subjects, whether that's the specific niche that you're working in to become an entrepreneur in, or you're studying, let's say, medicine. Of course, that's your world-class area. So you need to be a man that has a plethora of knowledge in that field. But things like horses and things like fashion and handbags, of course not. But know a little bit about them. Know the basics. For example, if I knew a little bit about horses, as in the different types of horses, the different colors of horses, and the specific seasons where they may hibernate in, I don't know if they hibernate, probably not, but the specific seasons where they mate and how the hormones and chemicals work within horses, right? If I knew a little bit about horses and I came across a guy that had no idea or literally no clue about horses, the guy that has no clue about horses would perceive the guy that knew a little bit about horses as an expert on horses. But if that man who only knew a little bit about horses was put into a room with an expert, a room full of experts on horses, he would be deemed as amateurish and, someone that has no idea about horses. So everything is about perception, but that's the whole point. He's not a world-class guy that knows about horses, but because he knows a little bit about it, to the guy that has no idea, he's perceived as an expert. And that's the point here. That's the analogy. It's the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. Aim to be the one-eyed man. So aim to have knowledge on various subjects, on history and geography. And I was very fortunate as I grew up with my father. These were things that were taught to me. So my knowledge on geography and history is relatively decent, on top of the things that I'm relatively good at in terms of skills. But aim to develop yourself as a man in terms of skill sets, because one day as time goes on and as you've used your time productively, You're going to go on dates with high class women as you elevate into the upper echelons. And when she sees that, okay, he's good looking, he exercises regularly, he's got nice tailored suits and he dresses well, he's invested in some nice cologne, he smells absolutely gorgeous, he speaks well, he's articulate, eloquent, you can tell that he's a man of class, he understands various subjects. It's just tick after tick after tick after tick. But if you're a guy in your teens and your early 20s and mid 20s and you haven't developed your skill sets or enhanced your knowledge, so to speak, you don't have much to offer. Imagine you're a guy, right? You hit the gym, you're in shape, you dress well, you're extremely eloquent and articulate, you come across quite sophisticated, you're the one-eyed man in the land of the blind, let's use that example. You play the guitar 2-3 times a week, you can speak 3 languages, you've travelled here, you've travelled there, you're drinking wine together and the waiter comes along and he pours the wine in a nice glass for you, and before you start drinking it, you swirl it around, you sniff it, you get the aroma and the scent. You come across as a man of class, of elegance, and that is the perception that you give off. It's not about being fake, by the way. You are still authentic. The reason you're authentic is because you've taken the time to develop the skill sets. You're a man that reads a lot on various subjects. That is a high class man, ultra successful. And most women, I shouldn't even say most women, all types of women that are high quality, they will be absolutely all over you. They will adore things like that. It's about elevating yourself to these types of levels. And so, again, I naively thought many years ago that, you didn't have to do too much to attract these types of women. So, as I said, if you're single and you're young and you're panicking, don't panic. You don't need a woman, because if anything, you need to use that time that you would go on dates with and talk with. You need to use that time for yourself. You need to use your free time productively, enhancing your skill set, reading on different subjects, becoming good at various things. You need to go through the trials and tribulations, and that is the reality of the situation. So again, spend the time wisely. Don't worry about women too much. I've said this before the age of 25, you should not even worry about women. Don't ignore them. That's a different concept. Don't ignore them. But you don't need to be infatuated with them. Don't have them on your mind 24/7. I know it's difficult, but focus on what the task at hand. Transmutate that sexual energy, and I promise you, one day you will have what you want. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.